This is the Advisory Committee on Sustainability. It is September 8th. We're calling our meeting to order at 12:07 p.m. Meeting virtually on the town's go-to platform as posted with the town clerk. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the last meeting, which are appended to the email that I sent yesterday. Cliff, thank you very much for putting these together. Any comments, edits on the minutes? Yes, go ahead.
That's smiling.
Jump right in.
I have two, and one of them is Cliff recorded it exactly as I said it, and I misspoke about something. Under communications with other organizations, where it mentions the Darien Nature Center, it says part of their mission is to work with the town on sustainability issues. It actually should be the community. I actually went back and looked at their strategic plan, and I did miss. Cliff recorded it.
Not the capital T town, but the community in general.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes
okay.
sense.
So then I guess it's okay as is.
Yeah, because it's lowercase, not capital. But community is better because it could mean other towns.
Yeah. And then the only other thing that I had was under number 9, website. It says one such document. I think it should be is the revised, not the old, but the revised single stream list, because that's what we asked them to put up.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't we?
New or revised, either word would work.
Current.
Right, any of those. And that's it.
Or
They're
just take out the qualifier altogether and say the. But yeah. Okay. So that's a motion, Carolyn?
Yes, that's a motion to approve these excellent minutes.
As appended.
As appended.
I get a second. All those in favor make moose ears. All right, minutes are approved. Back to the agenda. Now, let's see. Ed has a short period of time to be with us today. He's clearly got other concerning issues to deal with. And so I wanted to touch on a couple of topics that might be in his bailiwick. So I'm going to come out of order a little bit, but two things. One, actually I didn't put on the agenda, but Carolyn had forwarded an article about lithium-ion batteries and whether or not they should be stockpiled with all the other batteries or segregated. What was the overview of that article, Carolyn?
So the EPA recently published a study, and last month or in July of this year, they published the results of a long study that they did on lithium batteries, which if especially put in the waste stream or put in with mixed recycling, they can catch on fire and they can cause all kinds of problems. So we have, we publicize that people don't have to really worry about what kind of battery they put in the battery collection bin, that we take all batteries. My concern is they didn't specifically talk about collections of batteries, but I don't want to fire to.
Yeah, my understanding is that for a lithium-ion, the typical cause is that there is some break in the seal and you have air that contacts the chemistry of the battery and is the catalyst for its runaway chemical reaction, otherwise known as a fire. So I certainly imagine that if it was in single stream or if it was in the waste stream and it was being jostled around and put in trucks and put in compactors, that it would be more likely to catch on fire. I didn't know if it had something specifically to do with the batteries coming in contact with each other, but it doesn't seem like that was a part of the research.
Okay. So we're okay with, you know, like I said, in practice, most lithium batteries probably go in with electronics anyway, because people don't bother to take a battery out of a laptop, for example. They just recycle the laptop with the battery in it. So how many do we really get in the battery collection area? But is it something that we need to be concerned about? That was my point.
Yeah, so I guess I mean, maybe Ed, you tell me, but perhaps just verify with our e-waste vendor and our battery vendor that, you know, they're comfortable with the way that we're managing what goes in there.
Yeah, no, I can do that.
And then the other thing, which has been mentioned at a couple of our past meetings, and Jamie forwarded an email on recently, which I appended to the email I sent yesterday, was getting glass out of single stream and separating it before it goes in, because ultimately that's a more valuable resource at the end of the recycling day than having it mixed up with everything else and turned into a pile of dust with a bunch of other heavy items that fall out of the sorter. I don't think there's any action we can take on this now, Ed, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we do ever get to the point where we're renegotiating our management contract with City Carting, a discussion of how to handle glass should probably be on the table. Ed is writing dutifully, so
Good.
Adult pencil will outshine the sharpest mind. I always get that phrase wrong, but
Craig, when you're talking glass and recycling and the batteries and things, I have a question for Ed if he's not on long. And you all may know this, but anyone listening or me, I didn't know. I went and used the hazardous waste in Norwalk, and there's another one coming up real soon. I know Carolyn always posts them in a week or two, another one. And one of the things they would not take is antifreeze. They said you have to take it to your town, but the town, when I came to the town doesn't take antifreeze. Do we have a specific recommendation on that as a hazardous waste and where that needs to go?
To be completely honest with you, Catherine, I thought that we take antifreeze at our household hazardous waste day. That's one of the reasons that we have it.
The one in Norwalk did not. The big one that I went to, you know, and joined in is Darien. They wouldn't take motor oil or they wouldn't take antifreeze. So I brought the motor oil back here, which was taken, but the antifreeze was not. I was just curious if we know where that's supposed to go. And maybe I can take it again to the next one, and where there's one night, there's a hazardous waste day coming up somewhere else. October 16th. Maybe I can try again, see if the other, you know, a different place will take it. Just curious.
I brought some to our hazardous waste day this year, and they took it.
Okay.
yeah, I think I have in the past too, the one when it runs at the railroad station.
It is listed on our, the Darien's household hazardous waste as an accepted item. Antifreeze engine and engine degreaser.
Norwalk would not take it. So the Norwalk one, they were very, you know, obviously it was a very big, long line, lots of people separating.
They must use a different vendor than we use,
Okay.
possibly, right, Ed? Would that be? No?
No,
Probably the same one,
have the same vendor as we do.
Weird.
Maybe you just got the wrong person.
Right.
Make sure you bring the list with you next time so you can show them.
Well, I'll try again at the next one and see. I just don't want to dump it where it shouldn't be. That's for
No,
sure.
you don't want to do that.
Nope.
Well, if there's any other information on that, we can pass it along to folks.
All right, Ed, do you have anything to report? I know that, again, you're short on time, or does anybody have any questions for Ed while he's here?
Interesting aside from the solar array at Town Hall, we have been in conversations with the same vendor that we do the solar with on some virtual net metering that they're doing throughout Connecticut. We thought we had a little hook in last year. I guess the state of Connecticut canceled the program. Now they're bringing back something else. So just to keep that in the back of your mind as far as our energy usage and savings, that I am looking at trying to get involved with the virtual net metering through this company also, and it could be to our advantage to be able to jump in on that early. So
okay. All right, so that you're continuing to pursue an expansion of our solar power usage.
yes, I'm working with them on both avenues right now.
Physical and kind of virtual, if you will. Yeah.
The other piece is the swap shop. As a matter of fact, it's been quite quiet. Let me
talk to you. Yeah.
Knock on wood. And
Quiet
just
is what?
the way we like it, but it really has been going well. So I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
I talked to Dan briefly before the meeting. He had other things to do, and he said the same thing. He said things have smoothed over pretty well. He also noted that the book depository is there. So they usually, they'll have books on display in the swap shop, but as they overflow or sit too long, they'll grab them and take them in the put them in the depository. So that's so they attempt to get a second life beyond going in the recycling bin.
Pretty good.
Yep.
That's all I have right now. Unless you have any questions for me, I'll hang on until about 12:30. Then I have to leave.
Okay. So let's jump back to item number 2, communications with like organization. Carolyn, I know that you did reach out to the new director of the Nature Center. I've got an email in here from you and him on the same topic. Anything to report on that conversation?
I mean, I believe he's on vacation this week, so
Yeah.
I can reach out to him next week and see if when would be a good time to set it up. So maybe I can get a couple dates from you, and then I can approach him.
Yeah, I would say Wednesdays tend to be pretty light days for me if you wanted to set something up.
Sure. And okay, so when so pretty much any
15, 22nd, 29th are looking pretty tasty right now.
Okay.
Would it make sense to ask him to just join one of these Zooms for 5 minutes and explain to all of us and anyone that follows along, kind of, introduce himself and his...
We'll absolutely offer that.
Yeah, I'm sure he would be happy to do that.
Get and reach our
idea.
Significant audience.
I think it's great.
Any other communication with like organizations?
There hasn't been another green team meeting since our last meeting. And only, I mean, Kathy is familiar with this too. There's this sort of quasi compost group of various people in some of our neighboring towns that meets monthly. I attended their meeting on the 27th of August. It's like people just kind of getting together and talking, griping, talking, maybe coming up with possible solutions for how to implement food scrap programs or how to make them better. Nothing major really came out of this particular meeting, but I think it's kind of a good idea for people just to kind of stay in touch and share notes. I did raise the issue that if we could sort of come up with a way to order foods, because we all use the same food scrap kits except for New Canaan. If we could like kind of keep on track with ordering so that when we put in an order, we can get a more favorable rate because the volume will be larger. They all seem to think that was a great idea, but currently none of them really need to put in reorders at the moment. There was one town that suggested that they could possibly sell us some kits if we ever got to the point where it was really low. They would be selling them to us basically at what we would be selling them for. So it would just be kind of a transfer. But, you know, I mean, I think it's kind of good to keep this up. The other thing is there was some just mentioned that apparently Ridgefield, the town of Ridgefield, is trying to set up a composting operation in their town. It's not clear yet whether or not they would be taking other municipalities' food scraps, but you know, the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection is doing a lot currently to try to encourage towns to recycle food, to divert food from the waste stream. So you know, they're doing things to try to encourage this sort of thing. So I'm expecting that they'll probably get approval to do this, and then we'll just have to wait and see if it's something, if they would allow other towns to bring their food scraps there, which of course would be a lot closer than New Milford. So, and
it would be interesting because I saw the article on the Stanford one again. Which,
yeah. They just got a bigger machine.
looks like that.
Yeah.
That's
their new machine.
That's the new machine. Anyway, I mean, you know, because we pay a lot for pickup and
Yeah.
and you know, it's not necessarily helping anyone to have it driven around a lot either.
True.
So it'd be interesting to see how the maintenance of that thing works and the cost return on investment works.
I think they got a pretty substantial grant toward the purchase of the original machine, and then they were able, because it was so new, they were able to trade it up for the 4 times size machine for like $10,000 more dollars.
Well, I mean, so we know there are grants out there, right? And so we shouldn't be afraid of it. But yeah, I think that it says the larger machine normally costs $50,000. So that would have to get a lot of use to have a return on investment at that cost.
The other thing is Mansfield, the town of Mansfield is currently, they're recycling because they have leaf composting on their site. They are now recycling food scraps. They got permitted by the by DEEP to put food waste in with their leaves. So I'm
super interesting one.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be.
We're doing the leaves anyway,
right?
And I feel like, you know, you dribble in whatever food scraps you get each week in those huge piles, at least for a portion of the year. You know, it creates more work, kind of, but you know, depending on the ability to do it, it seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah. So I was thinking it might be worth a field trip there if anyone's interested.
see how they do it. Yeah.
Yeah. See how it works.
I'd go with you, Carolyn.
Okay.
And who handles that operation at the transfer station? The leaf composting. Is there a specific employee that is kind of in charge, or does everybody chip in as they need to get Windroad and so forth?
Well, we only have 2 guys at the transfer station that work for me.
Yeah.
One's at the scale house, the other one drives the loader. The guy in the loader normally handles the managing of the windrows and the flipping and turning of the leaf composting area.
Because it would be, you know, if we were serious about it or really wanted to look at it, I would suppose his involvement in a field trip would be most helpful to see how much additional work it really is.
Who does that now, Carolyn?
Mansfield.
Fairfield?
Mansfield.
Mansfield, I'm sorry, Mansfield.
Yeah, Mansfield.
might be just worth a call to the public works folks in Mansfield, you know,
Just
even separate if that's a long trip for someone to take.
Yeah, no, I'm expecting that there's actually going to be news articles about it because it is really, you know, a pretty innovative approach. You know, they're the only ones doing it right now.
Or old-fashioned approach.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good point.
But yeah, no, I mean, to do it, you know, you got to revise your DEP permit, and then you got to be happy with the fact that you're doing it. So there was always that barrier, and I think
But
it was
apparently
looked
they're
into.
trying to streamline that permitting process.
Yeah. Just look at it.
Um,
All right. So we kind of pushed right through to, well, anyway, so that was communications, although it moved a lot on to food scraps.
yeah.
Anything to report in terms of outreach to the Board of Ed? Nope.
So Kathy and I met with this, he's a sophomore at DHS, and I believe we had met with him just before our last meeting. We were supposed to have another meeting yesterday because he has since done some work. He was going to report on what he's done, which included a visit to one of the Westport schools to meet with a teacher who was instrumental in setting up that program. Christine and I were on the Zoom call yesterday and he wasn't. And it turns out that there was he had a family issue that so we're meeting with him today at 4:30. So we'll get an update from him then. I don't know what he's done in terms of reaching out to the Board of Education. I know that he did make this site visit. So we're just looking forward to hearing what he and what we can do to help.
Okay. Support our passionate advocates.
Yes.
All right. So do you have a food scrap update, or do you have numbers for August, or?
I don't. Cindy is out of the office until next week. So when I get those numbers, I will forward them.
Sounds good. Have we heard anything else about a shredding day?
No.
And we talked about glass as an option for the future, something to think about. We talked about the swap shop and the book bin. We talked about energy task force stuff, dealing with the new solar arrays. I do have the EVs on here. I know that technically the town hall fleet is very small, as we've talked about. But then there's the police department fleet and the Board of Ed fleet, which probably are better targets anyway. But is anybody in town talking about this, Ed, in terms of experimenting with EVs in any of our cars?
Yeah, no, this has been talked about for about a year now, Craig. And every time Jamie and I had spoken about it, it comes down to just a couple things in my area where I have issues with it is maintaining the vehicles and then selecting the proper ones. And I really just haven't had enough time to dive in to do the proper research on this and talk to people that have done it already. So it's more on me making that a priority and moving up the list. To be honest with you, right now there's other things that I have to be taking care of. This isn't getting to the top anytime soon, but I'll do my best to continue to look into it.
Okay.
It would seem at this point, actually, I saw a vehicle, I think when I was at the hazardous waste, I think maybe a Norwalk vehicle. And I know the early discussions in Fairfield ended up working really on a trial of a vehicle, not a big decision on fleets or whatever, but the beginning of having an electric vehicle in the possession of the town, that whether it's used by a building inspector or police person or something that was driven locally, you know, and could charge overnight, would seem to be, you know, and I looked into some of this and I've backed off on some of it too, but it would seem like maybe a goal for 2022 would be to see if there was a EV vendor, somebody that would be interested, you know, in working on a trial basis, so that we begin to know a little bit about what it takes. Because clearly to do the kind of research you're talking about requires, you know, some confidence in what you're really dealing with, and before you make a big commitment. So I don't know if that's something we could I could go back and look at my old notes, see if there's some way to get a vehicle somehow somewhere in the district or in the town.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that maintenance costs theoretically go down. You're not changing oil and filters, and brakes last longer because there's usually regenerative braking where they're getting power out of slowing the car down. And maintenance costs should be lower, although the purchase costs would certainly be higher.
I was going to say, maybe Ed, we can actually help you do some of the research in terms of what Kathy just made me think of. Something was, if another community has electric vehicles or a electric vehicle, perhaps we can, if they have any experience with it, we can find out, what it has been, and then, that would kind of relieve you of having to do something. I know I've heard different people. I think at the compost meeting, actually, someone mentioned that they were doing it. It might have been Westport.
Westport Police have a Tesla
They do, okay.
in their
So
fleet, and they bought it
it
in
seems
late
like that's what they do. They
2019.
pilot one vehicle as opposed to getting, replacing a whole fleet. So,
Here's
maybe
an article from July 24th of this year. The Tesla Model 3 purchased by the Westport Police in late 2019, has saved the town enough in fuel, maintenance, and other costs that it will soon be able to afford another brand new Tesla.
Where was this, Westport, Craig?
Westport, Connecticut. The analysis found, among other things, the town had saved $12,582 in fuel alone. All this, that says after 4 years of using electricity to power the vehicle, although they only had it for 2 years, so that's kind of weird. Anyway, so that's consistent with my understanding. All right. And move on to item number 7, which is marketing outreach and education. Any updates there? Articles going out, information going out, need for information?
Hey, Craig, I just want to say I'm going to have to take off, but I got some more information on those EVs that I did some research on. I'm going to send it out to you folks so you can take a look at it. Because I'm like you, I want to move forward on this eventually, and the sooner the better we start talking about it. But I'm going to have to take off. Sorry to take off on you guys.
Thank you.
Hi, Ed.
Bye-bye.
So Craig, so Kathy and Kathy's daughter had articles, sort of a 2-part thing. They're actually, we should share them, but they're actually hard to share because it's not, you can't get a PDF of an electronic version of the article. You have to physically scan it, create a PDF, and then send it. And we can do that, and I'll do that. Although Kathy,
I have both of them. I have both magazines right here.
Yeah, I don't have last month's. I just have the one that just came out. I didn't get the August issue. I only saw it online.
When I get lazy, I'll just take a picture of it with my phone and
Okay.
yeah,
that we can do too.
Scan it on my home computer. My husband has a scanner on his phone. I have them both sitting right here.
So scan both of them and send them around. And then
Yes.
I had said that I would send the July article around on water conservation, and I never did that, though I did scan it, so I have it, so I can do that.
I will do that right away. I have part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
Are both out.
Yeah, no, they were really great. If anybody has ideas for things that should be tweeted about or put on, anytime anybody ever sends me a suggestion, I always use it. So, because sometimes I kind of feel I'm out, it's like I do some of the same things over and over again. I would love to get some new ideas. So
writer's block.
Yeah,
feel-
I
you
mean,
feel
a lot of
empty.
times I use questions that, residents ask via,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
private messaging or through the email, the recycle@darien.ct.gov email. They'll ask a question and then I take their question and I do a post based on that, just because if they have a question, chances are other people do as
Somebody else
well.
does too, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
This goes here.
I don't know, is there anything else that, I feel like we should be doing some videos, but I haven't ventured into that area yet, but I feel like videos might be good.
The next TikTok star.
Nah.
They have to be between
Yeah.
6 seconds and 2 minutes.
It's
And
still, we'll have to get a
definitely
high school
involve
interns with
granting, from what I can tell.
The thing that I still, and this is just anecdotal evidence, and I know we've done the cards and stuff, but I have a couple of new young families in my neighborhood, and reaching out to them, whether it's the food scrap recycling or even my next door neighbors that didn't yet have a dump sticker, because they have a hauler, but like, oh, you can't not live here without this stuff, So just any way that we can continue, and I don't have any bright ideas at the moment, but I feel like any way that the services that our town offers can be better communicated to the scores of people that have moved into town would be helpful. And that would
the new people get a package from the welcome. I don't know if it's called Welcome Wagon,
Yeah.
but
and that's fine. Like I said, I know we did those cards, but I don't know that that's going to really get to a 30-year-old young couple in a way that something else, if there are other means. And like I said, I don't have any bright ideas, but I feel like that continuing to refresh, all the great things at our transfer station, composting, this, that, the other thing.
And it's too bad we can't host one of those like Park and Rec family days at the transfer station.
Yeah. I mean, so tree fall down in their yard in the storm, and they were like, "What do we do with it?" Like if you had a dump permit, I just throw out there, and I'm willing to think about it. I just think there's a need, based on my background of how people receive information and how you communicate, it has to be constant and reminded over and over again. And
so Kathy, you absolutely just you inspired me to talk about something. Craig, I don't know if we're going to talk about the sustainable CT application today, but under 8.1, hold a sustainable event or multiple events, you can get up to 15 points if you hold 10 or more quote unquote sustainable events. But it doesn't have to be a standalone sustainable event. It can be like if there's another event and you have a table set up there, and to your point, maybe you put up a sign that says new residents to Darien, and so anyone who's new can kind of make their way over, and you can tell them, give them some literature about the food scrap program and how to get a dump sticker and all of that.
Well,
we need to start getting these points.
There is another event coming this fall. Park and Rec is planning an event for Highland Farm. And it's going to be, a townwide invite, 400 families or something like that. So that's all I know.
Okay.
My girlfriend is running it, so I'll find out exactly what they're going to have.
It has to be, the event has to be free though. So, cause like I know.
That is free.
Okay, because Pam and I did, we did composting at the Earth Day event at the Nature Center, and I thought we could get some points for that, but it wasn't free, so we can't. But we need to start thinking about every free event where we can put up a flag and say that we're promoting some sustainable action. So that we can start getting these points, because it's easy to do.
Oh, you got the flyer already. You're ahead of me.
The Youth Commission is doing their Arts and Sciences Festival again in 2022. Okay. So I just wrote myself a note to email Alicia Stillers, because this would totally count, because it's free to.
Yeah, we've done it. We've done it every time they have it. Cliff and I did it the last time.
Yeah, so
in
hopefully
I'm happy to help do it again. And
yeah.
Who
Okay,
wants to follow up with Park and Rec? And I forget. the name of the, and it's not Pam Gary running it, it's her kind of director of programming. I forget her name.
Oh, Jamie?
I just don't remember. I don't, yeah. So anyway, who wants to follow up Park and Rec and understand the details of that event?
For the October 2nd one?
Yeah.
I will, because my girlfriend who runs the art center is the president of the art center, is on that
Oh, okay.
side of it. So yeah,
There you
no,
go.
I'm all
Thank
over
you.
that. I will take care of that.
Fabulous.
But Kathy, that will help kill two birds with one stone, because not only will we be getting points on our application, but we'll be fulfilling that need that you said we have to get information out to new residents and fairly new residents who don't understand how this whole process works.
And it may be as simple as posting through like, I cannot tell you the number of things I keep seeing on one of the local Facebook groups. I just moved here, I need a pediatrician. I just moved here, I need this. I just moved here. And the number of people that are doing that and seeking information. So, using the vehicles that certain people are. So, there may be some social media work. I can look into that for this one particular group. I think Christine's on it too. There may be some little messages that just our own creative things. Have you gone to the dump yet?
Would it be possible, do you think, for us to get in the welcome packet for new residents, like a
We did.
single use? They do a
We
single
gave
use?
them a whole packet of information. I gave them the postcards for the food scrap program. Cliff got all copies of the single stream list, how to get a permit. It was like three things that he got, and then I put in the postcard, and we gave them to Leslie McCarthy, who puts together these packets, these for new residents.
In the packet, like a single use entrance into the dump, like, kind of, you can go one time for free, get people excited about it, because that might be the impetus it takes, like, to go, you see, you're like, oh, okay, maybe I do need one of these.
Creative things of any kind, little catchy things, because people need more than one reminder. So anyways, we'll just keep thinking about it. The Highland Farm is a fabulous idea. If someone was having a beach cleanup, it's that kind of thing, like participating in an event that was free and you could be there for a couple hours.
Exactly.
That's kind of inexpensive reminder.
The road show.
Yep.
The table and the banner. The two chairs. Awesome. Thank you. I didn't have anything myself to bring up under the sustainable CT action items. Does anybody else have any specific questions about that? Yes, Cliff, you are on mute. You're still on mute. My lip reading skills have been getting better, but I still require audio. Let's see if I can do this.
He doesn't know how to unmute it.
Yeah. I'll send him a request. Maybe that'll make it easy.
Can you do that? That's pretty
Oh,
cool.
there he is.
Yep.
Oh, yay.
Oh, it's not working. Your mic is green, but I still can't hear you.
Maybe your volume is turned down, Cliff.
Yeah. Want to use the chat function? We'll read what you were trying to say. A little like kind of chat text bubble in the upper right.
Craig, are we going to start having separate meetings for the application where we can just go through it and?
Yeah, I mean, now that we're within, drafts are usually due in May.
Right.
The final is August or September, if I recall.
August, yeah.
August. So, yeah, we're certainly within 12 months now of a final app being due. So I think maybe we'll target our next agenda for getting back on the sustainable CT action items.
Okay.
All right. Now Cliff is typing, so I'm excited to watch what he comes up with in the chat box. This better be good. It's like really okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what oh, I'm sorry you're not feeling well.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, that's a drag.
You need to focus on getting better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cliff, you can log off and go rest, but so sorry you're sick.
Yep, I agree. So would y'all, instead of waiting until October, do you want to do a sustainable CT1 focused on the 22nd? That work for folks?
Of
What
September?
time?
Yeah.
I have jury duty on September 21st starting, so it depends on whether they keep me or not.
29th?
Yeah, I should be free by then.
Yeah, that works.
Kathy, does 29th work for you? You said yes,
Sure.
Pam?
Yep.
Christine?
Yes.
Noon,
Kathy?
Craig? Noon on the 29th?
Yeah, same time, same bat channel. Kathy, does the 29th work for you? Yes. Cliff, work for you? All right, I'll send out an invite for the 29th because that still gives us 2 weeks to our official meeting. And we'll have a special meeting and we'll focus on sustainable CT action items and really trying to develop a point strategy and starting to make up some ground.
Okay.
Great. Anything else, folks? Anything I should add for the next agenda? Always feel free to email me in between meetings if there's something you think we ought to be talking about, and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Other than that, Cliff, we all are going to send you our positive energy and hope that you can surpass this bout of Lyme. And everybody else have a lovely day before it starts raining again. All right, I'm going to stop recording.